Hope you're having a good day. I got a few Ficus microcarpa that are kind of at this stage right here. We're ready for some work. It's the first weekend in October, heading into fall here in Florida, and it's kind of to the point of, and we do still have a good couple months left of some growing, but it's either work them hard now or just let them sit till spring. And I've decided to go ahead and work this guy. I did a real short video with this one in May. It was I didn't really do much to it. I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and I've let it go since then. When I initially got this tree, I had it envisioned just having just a tight canopy on top and then just maybe a couple branches down lower just for some interest here and there. It's kind of what I'm still thinking, although at this point I'm thinking I probably am going to put some wire on it. I was thinking I was going to just have a clip and grow up here and maybe just a little wire down here. I'm looking and there's a lot of just random branches here and there that are kind of coming from the interior that either have very few leaves or they've got like a growing tip on the end that looks like it's trying to grow something, but then there's like nothing, down below. And so I'm just going to start working on it here. It's going to take a long time. I think it's actually one of the reasons why I haven't worked it all summer is just I knew that I had to kind of take aside a few hours here and work it up. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is kind of get in, and I see some of these dead spots. And once I do get in, I'm gonna kind of hedge prune and then defoliate the whole thing, and then get in and just see what kind of wiring I'm going to do. Probably just some down here, or maybe none at all today. I don't know. First thing I'm going to do is kind of get in here and just take completely out some of these dead and or dying branches, because once I take all the rest of the leaves off, so it'll be really hard to identify which one those are. And then get some of these longer shoots that are kind of coming out, take those off. And as I kind of work along, I should get a better picture of what I'm looking at. Alright, so that took care of most of the dead and dying branches and a couple that were just like in some really bad spots that I just kind of got while I was there. The only ones I did try to save is this has this nice aerial root that's kind of spaced itself out there a little bit. Appears to still be alive. I've had it in this pot long enough to where if it wasn't still alive, it would just dry up and break off right here, and it still is alive. And there's only 2 branches coming off of it. I'd like to try to finish healing that scar. This one had a long piece coming off of it. I am going to make it a little shorter than I did. So I did prune it a little, but I didn't take the branches completely off. I don't really know why. It seems to kind of almost be giving up on that little piece right there. But now I'll kind of come in and just I think it makes the defoliating a little bit quicker to kind of come in and Alright, at this point I've gotten most of the growing tips, but now at this point I'm going to go ahead and go in. And I was actually quite a bit more aggressive up top than I was down here. Again, just trying to save a little bit of a couple of areas of some interest. I'm going to kind of go in now and just try to be a little more selective with what I'm doing. Defoliate, get a little bit of a better look at what I've got. Alright, and so I've been defoliated down lower here, and then I've just been kind of working my way up and around as I go. And I came across this branch here, which is just one of these things. This was, if you go back and watch the original video, I have some pictures of this original tree, and I got these as just, they were overgrown in a nursery in Fort Myers, and I kind of separated them. And they're kind of clumps or whatever they're clumps of older bushes that were put together to like be a shrub, but then they, sat in the nursery for so long, they just kind of got all these aerial roots and kind of clumped together and everything. And my bigger one that I have that I did not separate has a little thin one, like, thin branch like that coming right up out of the middle. And I decided I didn't want to cut it out because I'm worried that if I just cut it out and I can't really get it all the way out, that once I cut it, it might start rotting in there. And so I've just been trying to kind of prune it with the rest of the tree, which, is, you can see it there. I don't know if you can see it go all the way down from that angle or not, but which is kind of the philosophy I was going with this one. But now that I look at it, it kind of just in the middle of a bunch of aerial roots, and it's pencil thin, and it comes right out to the edge here, so I think I could cut it off and try to take it out and get rid of it. And so I will. I may or may not take that as a cutting. I have, it's just pencil thin. I actually have a lot of cuttings that are, say, like magic marker thin growing out there already. I don't really know if I need another pencil thin cutting, but I'll set that off to the side for a minute. And then if I cut it again here lower, I've been doing some work out in my yard. I don't have all my tools in here. Thought perhaps I could go ahead and get it loose and uproot the whole thing, but it does seem to have fused to the trunk just a little bit. If it gets like a little bit of growth there, I might let it go just to kind of keep the health there or whatever. If I get any indication that that's causing any rot, I'll go ahead and repot it. It's been in this pot for 2.5 years. The only thing I'm kind of waiting on is I will try to show that one picture now. It's got a really thick root under here, and I will have to get some kind of a pot that's as deep as this one. And I don't really, right now, all I really have is this one that's this deep that would suit, that's wide enough and everything that would suit this. I can go a little bit more shallow, maybe take a couple inches off of what it is, but not much. I'll keep an eye on that. And if it looks, any hint of rot at all in the spring, I might even just repot it back in here if I don't have a suitable pot for it yet. Anyway, I was working my way around there, and now really only have this one cluster left. As I've been working my way around, just kind of cutting off here and there some growing tips that I missed, and some of the branches that are just kind of coming right out of the crotches of other branches or going straight up, straight down, things like that. I think I have decided I'm not going to wire it today. I'll let it regain as much of its strength as I can over use air quotes here, our winter, which isn't much of a winter, but over the winter. Towards the end of February, just kind of give it a check. And if it needs repotting, I'll worry about that then. Somehow or another I missed all those growing tips. And I'll just mention, do a lot of this. I used to always use the scissors to, clippers, whatever you want to call them, to defoliate like this, but I find I have a lot more dexterity in my fingers. And this ficus does lose a lot of sap. It's kind of a latex-based sap. If you have any plant allergies or anything, you'd want to wear gloves to do that, or just use the clippers and try not to get any on your fingers. I've been working these trees now for almost 3 years, so haven't had a reaction yet, so I'm assuming I'm not sensitive to it. Amazing how even after defoliating that other stuff over there, I didn't realize I missed all those growing tips either. I have been surprised that all of my, I say all, most of my ficus out there have really developed a lot of aerial roots over the last couple months. I think sometimes it's just how thick they get before we hit our dry season, which is getting ready to start. This one really has no new ones developing. I have a theory that the more pot bound it is and the more leaves there are on there, the more aerial roots it gets, and it seems to be working on, or my theory seems to be correct on some of my trees. Maybe it's because this pot is so big, even though it's been in here 2.5 years, it's not really all that pot bound yet. Had plenty of leaves on it for sure. But I do think that'll do for the day. And see what happens next spring.